1100%. So if you're a $2 million company, that's over 10 times, 12 times growth. So you go from 2 to 24. Here we are in New Jersey with Dan Antonelli. Dan, how long have you been in this building?
4 years. We built it from scratch, which was kind of neat. So we got to really design it exactly the way we wanted it to. You guys think about branding, it's not just, you know, the cool logos, the cool trucks, and the cool uniforms. It's a living space as well, and how well we integrated the brand.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and. What, you know, I walk in a lot of buildings that'll have little things like this, but they'll be missing a corner, and everything's dusty, and it looks like. And this is just everything's dialed in.
Some of our successes here, as far as, you know, again, just reinforcing the idea that, you know, our work changes lives.
Over 1100% increase. 1100%. You know, another 1200%. Another 1,000. That's crazy. So if you're a $2 million company, that's over 10 times, 12 times growth. So you go from 2 to 24.
Here, so I get to work on different brands, different truck wrap designs. This is like one that I'm working on here for a company out in Chicago. But you know, you guys always see the finished product, right? You don't see what goes on behind the scenes. This is what it takes to get to that finish, you know. So these are all variations. This is one we explored with this guy, and then we had them running. We had different type. Like, so there's hours and hours of work that goes into before you settle on, like you could see the sketch phase. We were working on some different options here. Then we thought this would be cool, but then we didn't like the colors, and you know, just getting to that final piece. So we want to know, what are their goals? What are they trying to espouse in a brand? What do they want the brand to communicate? But the other thing too, we spent a lot of time is trying to figure out, well, what do the competitors look like? What are their colors? What are their brand strategies? Making sure we have something that we feel is going to be unique and different, because the idea of disruption is to do something that doesn't fit in. That's the whole idea, is to think about disruption, think about brand promise, right? What is when you see that van, what does it communicate to the people?
The hardest part of my job is making sure that every single employee knows the brand promise when you show up, what that brand promise is. I love that. The best view comes after the hardest climb.
That's me riding in Colorado. The bike is actually a really cool story. So I was 14 years old and I was really into cycling at the time, and I was obsessed with Italian racing bikes. So I had seen that bike at a bike store, and I said to my dad, like, I really want that bike. My dad's like, okay, go buy it. Like, if you want it, go buy it. So like, it became one of my early goals to save up enough money. I had a paper route, so I was delivering newspapers. A year later, I had saved up enough money. That was an $1,100 bike in 1985.
Oh my gosh.
So back then, that was a shit ton of money, right, for a bicycle. I bought it, and I would show up at these races. You know, I'm a kid, and I'm riding in this really high-end bicycle, but it was always like a great lesson about, well, you know, you gotta hustle, you gotta work for something if you really want it, and you can get it. So the idea of success in spite of a poor identity is not a valid reason to perpetuate it. So many companies have amazing success, but that's what they use to justify keeping the status quo. It's like, we don't want to change because we've made it to this point, so it must be working. And I always look at it and I say, wow, it's amazing that you got to that level of success, but imagine if you had better tools, how much more successful you would be. And certainly Tommy's a great example of that. Like, he was killing it. Like, why did he need to rebrand? He didn't need to rebrand. He could have gone on exactly the way he was going, but he knew where he wanted to go. He couldn't get there with what he had.
This has been a great tour. What do you guys think? Dan, the man at Kickcharge?
Absolutely.
All right. Kill him.